Okay, so I've got a little pile of things here that are ready to be trimmed. I've already shaved this, and I want to point out the difference in something that I made, I don't know, like 2 months ago, compared to something that I made like last weekend. My tufting has improved a lot over just a small amount of time. Like this one, I've been avoiding tr trying to trim it because I know that it's going to be really annoying, because there's so many of these little strings that just don't go where they should. Like looking specifically here, when you get this like zipper zigzag edge, what that means is that I tufted the two colors too close together, and so they don't know where they're supposed to go. Whereas these, I actually tufted them a little bit farther apart. I gave it some more breathing room than I normally do, and that's something that I'm going to continue doing because this one, I haven't touched this with scissors at all, and you can see that there's not a lot of colors that are in the wrong spots, whereas here, it's just bumpy, he's lumpy, he's rough. So I'm going to focus on trimming this one, so that you can see the difference, since this one has a lot more work to do. But I just wanted to show you that the tufting, the better you get at tufting itself, the more it will relieve you from having to spend hours trimming after the fact. So, okay, so looking at this guy, he's a little fish. Here are those little scissors that I sent you the link to. They are truly the best. And then I keep a pair of tweezers nearby so that I can grab yarn that is not where it belongs. So, okay, a few things that I am looking for when I start trimming would be one, yarn that is in the wrong spot. So like zooming in here, let's just focus on an eye. So we've got some of this zigzag edge happening here. That's kind of inevitable. But what I could have avoided was all of these extra little yarns that are just kind of hanging out where they're not supposed to. So the first thing I do after I shave it with the shears is I go on a little hunt with my tweezers looking for pieces of yarn that are not where they belong, and try to move them back where they're supposed to. Looking at this little like zipper zigzag, typically what I'll do, oof, that is so rough, is I just try to move the yarn back to its side, but sometimes that takes hours, especially if, like when I was tufting this, I was in a hurry, I was sleeping, my hand was cramping, I'd already been tufting for like 6 hours at this point, I was just ready to get done with it, and now I'm paying the price because I rushed, and that's not cool. So, okay, so we use tweezers, put stuff back where it goes. A way that I think about trimming is like relieving pressure. So right now, I tufted this honestly too tight together. I've already said that. But the yarn is really like pushing on each other. And so part of what the trimming is getting rid of some of that yarn so that it has a little bit more room to breathe and you have an opportunity to sculpt while you do that. So starting with this eyeball here, this is probably bad news, but whenever I trim, especially on a job like this, that's going to take a lot, is usually I kind of take my thumbs and I comb all of the yarn so that it's facing the same direction. And now you can really see where some of these flaws are. So like this, now that I've trimmed it in one direction, I kind of just go in with my scissors and I go at an angle. I'm not just straight up and down because that won't really get the job done. You have to kind of angle it and get in there. So here I go, I'm going in. So if I pushed it up, then I'm trimming with the angle kind of down, and then later I'll do it the other way where I'll push all of the yarn the other direction and I'll trim with the angle the other way. If that's confusing, always just do it the same way. So I could push it up, trim, spin it around, push it up, trim. So, okay, that's probably too much information, but here we go. So it's up, I am angled. I'm going in there. The only thing that you have to worry about when you're doing this, well, there's probably more than one thing to worry about, but see how nice that looks? See how nice that looks? Awesome. You have to worry about accidentally cutting the color that you don't mean to. On the last thing that I was working on, I accidentally cut like way too much of the opposite color off. Like right now I would accidentally be cutting the black when I'm trying to cut the white, and it left a big hole, and I had to do some surgery to get it to look the way I wanted it to. But pushing the yarn and just being picky with it, like trimming was the part that I was the most confused about when I started out, because it seemed like there wasn't really any good tutorials like really telling me the information that I needed to know, which is why I'm extremely happy to help share this knowledge with you so that hopefully you make less mistakes than I did. But okay, comparing these two eyeballs, all I did was cut this line and this line, but compared, like, that is so much cleaner. But this is where the bad news comes in, is after I'm like, oh, amazing, it looks beautiful that direction. Then I want to turn the yarn the other way. I might hit this with a vacuum real quick. Okay, so this is not too bad, but instantly I'm seeing where I need to trim this a little bit more. So I'm gonna spin it so I don't have to angle it funky. And the reason why I do this is that even if it looks nice one way, when you go to give this to the customer, like, yeah, you might have photographed it and it looked great because it was the direction that you had cut it, but the customer doesn't know that, and it's going to be in their car, it's going to go through the mail, and it's going to get all messed up. And so you want to make sure that your work is prepared for anything. I mean, especially if this is a rug and people are going to be stepping on it, these hairs are going to go in every direction, these yarns. So I always just make sure that I trim it facing the left and facing the right. And you can watch, I'm really just going for the tip of that. I like to angle the scissors because I like the bevel, and sometimes, again, it just really doesn't get the job done. If I was to go like straight in, I get that nice 45-degree angle, for being exact. Oh, I'm not even getting what I'm doing in the picture, sorry. So anyways, that is basically it. This rug in particular will probably take me a good 90 minutes, if not 2 hours, to get looking the way that I want to, because I really can't feel good about giving this to somebody. I'm sure you're the same way, or especially selling it to someone, if I don't think it's good. So always do your best. I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. Another way to think about trimming is relieving pressure. So I think I said that earlier, but I didn't really expand on it. But basically, because all of these yarns are pushing in on each other, if you have an area that's like really bad, like maybe I'll go to this bottom fin here. I can go in here and I'll really like yank this back, and I want to, well, I can't get a good angle on it, because since I accidentally only tufted this with one line, which is something I wanted to point out. So, sorry, we go on rabbit trails. These, I try to only tuft with a double line. Like, you think about tufting, like you go one, but I always go over the same spot twice, just because I think it looks better. So all of these were gone over twice, but down here I accidentally only went over this one in particular, and like half of this I only did it once. I don't really know how I messed it up that bad. Like I said, I was tired. But anyways, so in a case like this, to fix it is I want to get rid of some of the blue that's surrounding it so that it relieves that pressure and the black can fan out, and we can kind of fake it being thicker than it really is, because I want that black to show through. So right now I'm kind of just peeling it apart because I want that black to shine, and then I'm gonna hold the blue away from the black. I'm manually splitting these up so that I can go in here and trim. So let me do that real quick, and I think that's the last thing that I wanted to show you. But I genuinely hope this helps. I'm sorry it ended up being 10 minutes long. I just wanted to make sure that I use this opportunity to actually share everything I know. So please feel free to ask me any more questions anytime. But that's it. We are done here. So bye.